Welcome to this lesson. Hard work pays. I am glad to have you all this time. Today's lesson is on the rule of law, and the objectives for this lesson are: you should be able to know the meaning of the rule of law, the principles of the rule of law, and the limitations to the application of the rule of law. What is the rule of law? The rule of law is defined as the supremacy of law over everybody in a political system. The rule of law is seen as a provision made by the Constitution with emphasis on supremacy of the law, equality before the law, and the presence or inclusion of the principle of individual rights. Now, students, we all know that the law should be able to guide every individual and activities in a state. According to Professor A.V. Dicey, who propounded this theory in 1885, he explained the theory in his book entitled The Introduction to the Law of the Constitution. Now, according to him, there are three tenets or principles of the rule of law, and they are the principle of non-arbitrary powers or the supremacy of the law, the principle of equality before the law, and the principle of personal freedom. So now let's look at the principles of the rule of law. Now, the following principles of the rule of law propounded by Professor A.V. Dicey are: firstly, the principle of equality. This principle says that all the citizens are equal before the law, irrespective of their status. Now, we are to obey the law no matter our position. Anyone that breaks the law will face the full penalty of the law impartially. There is no preferential treatment before the law. The law makes no distinction between people or classes. Whether you are rich, you're poor, you're land or unland, high or low, are under the same law of the land, and they are to be treated as such. This is what this principle is trying to explain to us, that we are all equal before the law, no matter our position in the society, no matter our status in the society, we are all equal before the law. Another principle here is the principle of supremacy of the law. Now, this principle states that the law is supreme over both the ruler and the ruled, over both those in authority and we, the citizens. Now, nobody is above the law. The law dictates whatever happens in government and in society. It cannot be bent for people, for nobody. All decisions made by the government must be according to the law. Power should not be used simply at the discretion of an official without due regard to the laws of the land. In this, according to this principle, you cannot be punished or made to suffer except for a distinct breach of the law. Do you understand, students? Supremacy of the law. Now, the law here is the supreme body. Nobody is above the law. Once you are against the law or you disobey the law, you must definitely face whatever penalty that comes your way. So it is very good for us to obey the law. Now, the next one here is the principle of personal freedom. Now, the principle of personal freedom means that the fundamental personal liberty of the individual is guaranteed. According to Professor A.V. Dicey, the law of the Constitution is not the source, but the consequence of the rights of the individual. Now, in short, it means rights are guaranteed not by the Constitution, for they are your rights. They existed before the Constitution. Do we still remember in our last class, we discussed about the natural theory of rights, that Rights have been existing before we were born, before the Constitution was made. Do you understand? And we also have the principle of impartiality. This principle is of the view that the law should be impartial in dealing with offenders. This means that no person should be punished for any offense until otherwise established by the courts. Any accused person is still regarded as a suspect by law and should not be detained for more than 24 hours without producing the individual in court. I really like this, the principle of impartiality. Now, this principle will help us to understand that the law should be impartial in dealing with offenders. Now, nobody should be punished for any offense without any proof, without evidence. Do we understand? And the person should not be detained for more than 24 hours without producing the individual in court. Are we clear on this? There are other additional features or principles such as access to legal facilities, fair hearing, and that the law should be made public for people as well, and the right to appeal. Do you understand? So let's see the limitations to the application of the rule of law. What are the limitations to the application of the rule of law? Now, immunity of the head of state. He may not be sued or appear in court. This privilege is not extended to the citizens, and it is a limitation to the law. You see? Now we have diplomatic immunity. Now, diplomats cannot be prosecuted in the country where they are residing as accredited representatives of their country. So this is another limitation. Now we have immunity of the parliament. The lawmakers are immune from every utterance, actions, or statement made in parliament. And this is why the rule of law is limited. Now we have delayed justice. Justice delayed is agreed to be justice denied. The reasons are that some individuals have spent years in custody with their cases frequently postponed, and this is really not right. Now, we also have the types of government in power can also be a limitation to the application of the rule of law. Now, a one party system can grow into dictatorship, thereby limiting the application of the rule of law. When we have military in politics, what happens? The intervention of the military in the political process and suspension of the constitution are limitations to the law. State of emergency is also a limitation. Customs and traditions, unlawful detention, arrest, and torture. Now, certain punishments administered by the law enforcement agents, like the police, can serve as a limitation to the application of the rule of law. We have illiteracy, poverty, and ignorance. When majority of the citizens are illiterate, poor, and ignorant of the law, it can become what? A limitation to the rule of law. At this point, we have come to the end of the lesson. It's really amazing having you in this class. Until next time, and bye.